All right, let's see if we can help the executive management of Store 24, a convenience store chain in the eastern United States. You've been engaged as part of a consulting team to help Store 24 evaluate their strategy. First of all, here's your client. It's a privately held convenience store with about 75 stores located throughout New England. Now, the critical business issue that they've had is growth. They've tried to expand into the New York City market unsuccessfully. And so they've really focused on their home market in New England. No more expansion outside of New England, which now leaves them with still the growth issue. If they're not going to grow geographically, how can they grow within their home territory and in their existing stores? So for some time now, Store 24 has operated under a strategy that was focused on efficiency, getting customers in, getting them what they want, and on their way in a very, very focused and efficient manner. They called this strategy "'Cause You Just Can't Wait." Now comes a new strategy designed to boost this growth issue. In May 1998, they implemented a strategy called Ban Boredom. Very different from "'Cause You Just Can't Wait." Ban Boredom was all about getting customers to linger in the stores by creating an entertaining and engaging in-store atmosphere. So in many respects, the inverse of "'Cause You Just Can't Wait." Now here we are in April 2000. The Store 24 executive leadership has gotten some market research. And for the last 6 months, this research has indicated that this Ban Boredom strategy just doesn't seem to be resonating with the customers. So here we are in May 2000, and your client, the executive management, here the CEO and CFO, they're trying to understand whether they should abandon the Ban Boredom strategy that they embarked upon a couple of years ago. Now, it's really not clear what they should do with the market research because, despite the market research, Store 24 has actually been improving their financial results for the past couple of years. And you're given some work papers and a case Exhibit 2 that verifies this. Now, what they're struggling with is, for this decision about strategy, should they excuse me, be reassured by these hard financial numbers, and should they just continue on this strategic course with Ban Boredom, or should they pay more attention to the market research and abandon this strategy? So conflicting information points here, and they've engaged you to help them with this decision. What Bob Gordon would like to understand is whether this Ban Boredom strategy has been flawed from the beginning or whether it's simply been poorly implemented. Now, we know that they've got a number of measures in place that perhaps can help them get to the bottom of this. So they've asked for your assistance. They've got a balanced scorecard, and they'd like you to critique that balanced scorecard. How does it look to you overall? And here reflect on some of the best practice principles of balanced scorecards in general. How does theirs look against what balanced scorecards should look like? And then, if they want to use this scorecard to test the Ban Boredom strategy, what else, if anything, would you recommend they begin to look at in their analysis? And keep this in mind. Bob Gordon is really a hardcore numbers guy. So he's going to want to see data and evidence, that would support your recommendation and his decision. So in forming your assessment, what you're being asked to do is really look at that band boredom strategy and see if it truly is or is not related to future financial performance. And to do that, there are a number of elements in the balanced scorecard, and there's some financial outcomes. And the way STORE 24 looks at financial outcomes is they call it Future Controllable Contribution, or FCC. So your consulting work here should focus, after you assess the scorecard overall, should focus on establishing correlations if you can, or disproving correlations if they're not there, between different elements that they're measuring in the balanced scorecard and the financial outcomes. You may want to take a look at future controllable contribution versus the band boredom scores that they're tracking. See if there's a correlation there. As you do that, begin to look at the balanced scorecard and see if you can highlight the elements that seem to be most important to the band boredom strategy's success. One of the things that might be valuable here is take a look at the relationship between band boredom scores and crew skills. And by two by two, what Bob Gordon's looking for is high band boredom scores, high crew skills; high band boredom scores, low crew skills; low band boredom scores, high crew skills; low band boredom scores, low crew skills. Any consultant worth their salt has got to show their client at least one 2x2 matrix. We should know that by now. That's an important one to focus on. Finally, this should culminate in your recommendation to Bob Gordon. And the alternatives sort of shake out like this. He's considering whether he should drop band boredom, drop back to the former strategy across the entire company, and focus on 'cause you just can't wait. Or should he press on and continue to implement band boredom? Or perhaps a third approach would be to really pursue both at once. Implement band boredom in some stores where it has evidence or at least a chance of being successful, and then just continue to stay focused on 'cause you just can't wait in other stores. The consultants that have been here before you, some of your colleagues at your firm, have left some work papers, and those have been made available to you. You might do a quick walkthrough of those work papers to try and answer some of these questions. What is their strategy today? What do they really have to do to succeed? What are they currently measuring, and are those measures adequate? And should they measure some additional things in order to really evaluate the success of the strategy? Now, the task here, as evidenced in your statement of work, has several elements. One is, how can they use the balanced scorecard measurement system to answer Bob's question? And specifically, what is it in there that you could translate into regression results to show what is driving the results in the stores? And the regression of all the data in the balanced scorecard could lead Bob Gordon to a decision, but should he manage the business based on these regression results from the balanced scorecard? Here's some examples of regression results. I'm not going to go through all of these in detail. We can zoom in on them here just for a minute. It all is an attempt to establish correlations between band boredom and future controllable contribution. And secondarily, to look at different elements that are going on across the company that either can contribute to band boredom's success or detract from it. So these are some hints from the work papers of areas that you should focus on. Okay. Now, this all has to culminate in a recommendation to Bob Gordon. What should he do? Remember, he's got financial results that tell him Store 24 seems to be doing okay. He's got market research that tells him that this new strategy, ban boredom, isn't resonating. The customers aren't getting it. Is it a bad strategy, or is it a good strategy with flawed execution? Bob's looking forward to your recommendations.